So let's hypothesize what the silver price would be directly based on the physical silver market. If we lived in a perfect world, today, the actual size of the silver market, according to Bloomberg, is $5 trillion. 5 trillion divided by 20 billion, which is the physical market, is 250. 250 times $20, which is silver spot price, equals $5,000 an ounce. Hey, what's up, Silver Stackers? Thank you for tuning in. This is your host, Silver Slayer. So let's talk about silver. And actually, let's talk about $5,000 silver. That's what this article is titled, which was only written a couple weeks ago, July 31st, titled "The Case for $5,000 Silver." Yes, $5,000 silver. Now, I just made a video, actually earlier today, talking about why silver's price is irrelevant. Spot price is irrelevant because no matter how many fake dollars you throw at an ounce of silver will never equal or equate to that ounce. $5,000 bills is nothing compared to an ounce of silver. But for the sake of this video, we are going to break it down in terms of money, in dollar terms. So let's look at, for example, when silver's $500 an ounce, would you be willing to let go? Would you sell? What's the most you'd pay for an ounce of silver? When silver hits $100, are you going to throw in the towel and say, I'm done buying? When it hits $1,000, are you going to say, I'm ready to sell? Even though we all know that the dollar is worthless and silver is real money, I still want to bring the conversation because we are still going to be buying at certain prices and selling at certain prices. Some of us are never going to sell. But regardless, is $5,000 silver possible? Will it ever hit that price? I want to talk about it. The link to this article will be in the description. If by the end of this video you like the video, then please like the video. I'm not going to ask you to like the video right now because you don't even know if you're going to like the video. I'm not going to ask you to subscribe if you haven't yet, because at least watch the video and see if you want to subscribe to my channel. You get what I'm saying? Let's jump into this. If the price of silver were based directly on the real physical silver market, silver's price should be $5,000 an ounce. I'm not saying the price of silver will reach $5,000 an ounce. I'm just saying that the actual physical silver spot price is not only extremely undervalued, but that is an illusion compared to the real value of an ounce of physical silver, since it's totally disconnected from reality. Then he says, let me explain further. Now, I do like this. I like this because, one, I'm going to like this article. I could already tell. He's breaking down the illusion of our perception of the dollar's value and what our perception of an ounce of silver is worth. Silver's value, no matter who says that 1 ounce coin is worth what, is irrelevant, because the coin's value, the true value, the intrinsical value, is the 1 ounce of silver inside of it, not the price tag. And once you truly understand that, then no amount of dollars will ever equal an ounce of silver. We need to learn how to disconnect that, the physical spot price from the ounce. So, a price of $5,000 may seem totally crazy, but who can pretend knowing exactly how an ounce of silver is worth? After decades of manipulation and turning real investors' demand from physical market to the paper one, and years of exponential monetary printing by all the planet's central banks? And that's another good point. Honestly, I think that gold should be 93 times cheaper than silver, not vice versa. The gold to silver ratio is 93 to 1, but silver is 93 times more useful than gold is. Gold is just used for storage and jewelry and coins and earrings and necklaces and watches. A little bit of gold in technology, but barely any. But silver's used in everything. It literally makes the world go round. If we don't go into this green new future, it's going to be because we don't have enough silver to make the solar panels or the EVs. They're talking about global warming and climate change. Silver would be the reason that's not possible. Silver is much more critical and essential than gold is. And yes, the price has been manipulated. And the only real time I ever think people understood silver's value was back in ancient biblical times when the gold to silver ratio was 2.5 to 1. 2.5 parts silver equals 1 part gold. Back then, they saw silver's real uses. They thought silver was magic. They thought it was magical, which it is, because it could purify their water. Drop silver in water, it purifies it. Put silver in milk, it keeps the milk fresh longer. It has antimicrobial properties, antibacterial properties. That's why it's used so much in the medical world with colloidal silver. Silver is an element unlike anything else. It's the most highly conductive metal for thermal conductivity, electricity, and even light sensitivity. Nothing is even a close second. Copper is a close second in terms of conductivity if you're going to try to replace silver with copper in the technological world, but the quality would go down so much it's not even worth doing so. So anyways, the physical versus paper market difference. The actual spot price for silver has no real value, and it's not legitimate when we seriously compare the real physical market to the paper market, and it's and especially of the financial derivatives. And that's what I always tell people. Every ounce of silver that you hold in your hand, 100 other people theoretically own that same ounce on the COMEX. But you're the only one that actually owns that ounce. If you can't hold it, you don't own it. And the COMEX will collapse sooner than later. The only way that you are going to be able to preserve your wealth in the coming times of this inevitable collapse of the dollar is to put your money in precious metals. That's the only way. Anything pegged to the dollar is going to crash with it. So according to an article by Bloomberg, which has always been a reliable source with their published data, the size of the global annual silver market is equal to $5 trillion. According to a recent interview with David Morgan, which, by the way, David Morgan, my idol, the silver guru himself. He's, oh my gosh. Let's just say that I have big things coming, folks. Really big things coming. And you could expect a David Morgan interview in the coming future of this channel. And you could also expect that your host of this video is going to start climbing the ladder up and put himself into that group of people. So yeah. Anyways, the annual physical silver production is roughly 1 billion ounces. With silver trading around $20 currently, this represents a $20 billion market for physical silver. So the size of the physical silver market's $20 billion. See, the difference between 5 trillion and the 20 billion number is that Bloomberg's $5 trillion number represents the entirety of the paper silver market, including all paper financial products, which is certificates, options, ETFs, etc., derived from the real physical market that allows investors to be exposed to silver. Here's the 250 to 1 leverage, and this is what I've covered before. This is a really interesting formula, and this is how you could say $5,000 silver, and if someone says you're crazy, you could show them this formula, this equation, this math equation, and it would shut them up. Because if you want to be literal, see, a lot of times when people throw out these numbers like $500,000 Bitcoin by the year 2024 or something, they're just throwing a number out, but they have no data. But I'm about to show you this formula that says silver should literally be $5,000. And that's an actual number, not just speculative. So this is the above discrepancy, makes for a 250 to 1 ratio between the paper market and the physical silver market, meaning that for every ounce of physical silver, there are 250 ounces of paper silver circulating in several financial products. And that's what I was just telling you guys, except I said 100. But it's actually 250, they're saying. So that means every ounce of silver that you own in your safe, 250 other people theoretically own that same ounce online. It says they own it online, but you're the one that actually owns it. 250 other people. So in other words, only one contract or certificate is issued out of 250 could be convertible into physical silver. That is, the silver market is being leveraged 250 to 1. So the multiplication of those financial products on silver has skirted investors' demand from the real physical market, thus creating a virtual silver supply without putting any pressure on the physical silver market, a roundabout way of keeping the price low. If now, as the regulation agencies are claiming, the goal is to create a new fixing for silver that would better reflect the physical market, notably from pressure coming from countries like China wishing to have their way, fixing the price of precious metals. The leverage between paper silver and physical silver is at risk of radically evolving. Let's hypothesize what the silver price would be directly based on the physical silver market. Today, the actual size of the silver market is, according to Bloomberg, $5 trillion. $5 trillion divided by 20 billion, which is the physical market's 250. 250 times 20, which is silver spot price, is $5,000 an ounce. That sounds pretty accurate. Now, we do have to remember, though, this is in a fantasy land of what should be if there was no corrupt, shady manipulation going on by the evil bankers of JP Morgan and governments trying to hold down silver's price for their own reasons and yada yada. In a perfect world, silver would be $5,000 an ounce. But we don't live in a perfect world. But there will be a time coming sooner than later that I've also talked about on my channel where no matter how much money you try to throw into other areas or try to, no matter how far you try to go to manipulate the price of silver, it won't work. It is going to bust. The bubble is going to completely get shut down, and silver's true price will become exposed. And for me, I think it's going to do with the supply deficit. When we are deep into the Green New Deal and people are starting to find out that we don't have enough silver to make the entire world go green, and they realize how critical of an element of a metal silver is, but it's only $20 an ounce, that's when the true value is going to start to shine through. When these big industries realize, silver's extremely scarce, and we can't find it, and we need it. See, we want it, they need it. Producers turn into consumers, the consumers turn into producers. And I'm guaranteeing they're willing to pay any price, even if it's $5,000 to get that silver, because nothing can replace silver. Nothing can. We're talking about elements on the periodic table, folks. So yeah, what do you think about this, though? And here's the conclusion. Every investor holding silver in the form of financial products without the possibility of ever verifying the physical existence of their investment should ask the question as to what will happen when more holders of said products will ask for physical delivery. In reality, we already know what will happen because one of the large banks from the Netherlands already defaulted a little more than a year ago on its gold certificates by settling customers in cash. So yes, we already know what's going to happen. I already covered a couple different articles explaining how this would happen, what it would look like, and the possibility of it. If you've watched my channel in the last week or so, the COMEX is going to collapse. And if you really do think that your silver is in that vault halfway across the world with that third-party custodian's name you can barely even pronounce is actually there, you're living in La La Land. It's completely contradicting the entire purpose of investing into precious metals if you're just investing into it digitally. The whole point is that we are in complete control of our wealth. And if it's a number on a screen, then you are not in control of that. The vault is. The company where that silver is in control. You just theoretically own it. Just like the 250 to 1 leverage equation. 250 other people think that they own your ounce of silver. But do you think if they tried to turn that contract into physical delivery, do you think all those 250 people are going to be able to get your ounce? No, because it's yours. If you can't hold it, you don't own it. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap this video up here. I think this was one of the best articles I've covered in a long time. Really just breaking down, and it's funny because one of the most educational, insightful articles I've covered in a long time is an article talking about why silver should be $5,000. You would think an article like this would be the most irrational, just crazy theoretical speculative article, but this is actually the most factual article out there that makes the most sense, that really breaks down what's happening. Just kind of funny. If you saw that about any other investment, this would not be able to happen. It would, if you try to talk about $500 or $500,000 Bitcoin, it's going to be the most absurd stuff with no actual data or an equation to show that it should be worth that. And that's because those things don't have intrinsical value. Once you understand what intrinsic means, investing into something that has intrinsical value, then everything will click. That is the most important part about silver, is that there's 1 ounce inside of it, which that does not equate to the price of it. It's spot price is literally irrelevant. And today, the premiums on top of spot price show that spot price for the physical investor does not matter to even the slightest degree. If you were going to walk down the road and someone asks, hey, how much did you pay for that ounce? And you say, well, spot price is, or let's say the guy asks, what's the price of silver? Well, you say, well, spot price is this, but I had to pay $40, and that's what you have to pay. Then in that guy's mind, what do you think he's going to think the price of silver is? Spot price plays no part in the physical world anymore, the physical market, and that's because silver shouldn't be pegged to any price that we're talking about in dollar terms, because the dollar is ever changing. The dollar is always going to be losing value or pushing up a little bit here and there. But regardless, in 10 years, what you could buy with a dollar is going to be completely different. But in 10 years, that ounce of silver is still going to have an ounce of silver inside of it. Just like the gas station analogy I always use. Walking Liberty $half could get you a gallon of gas back in the day. That same Walking Liberty $half can get you a gallon of gas today. Back then, it was the 50 cents face value. 50 cents could get you a gallon of gas back in the day. Well, that same exact coin, just that coin, can still get you a gallon of gas today. 50 cents can't get you a gallon of gas like it was back in the day to buy that gallon of gas, but nowadays, there's still 50 cents of silver inside of that Walking Liberty. So you could take that Walking Liberty, walk down to your local coin shop, buy your gallons of gas, and get, sell it for $10, whatever, get yourself a couple gallons of gas. You see how silver is timeless, how it's detached from the price of dollars, because the metal inside of that coin is always going to have value, where the dollar doesn't. It's timeless, and once you understand that, everything else will click. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. I know I kind of went on a rant at the end, but hopefully what I said made sense to some degree. I usually don't talk like that as open. I try to keep things, sharp and to the point, but I feel like I needed to say some of that stuff. So hopefully you liked the video. Like I said earlier, if you liked the video, then please like the video. If you think my channel's worthy of a subscription, then please subscribe, because I post daily videos, a lot of stuff coming up, a lot of big announcements. I think I'm going to make the big announcement on Saturday. I'm going to do like a premiered video, grab some popcorn, because this is going to be the biggest announcement on my channel ever. This is a life-changing announcement. It's not just one little thing. It is something that is going to change forever. Like, this is a game-changing announcement that's going to change my life forever. Hopefully, it will be able to influence and affect your life forever, and the precious metals world forever as well. Like this is some major stuff I'm going to be announcing, and I can't wait, and I hope you guys are here with me until the end. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. This was Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.